Welcome to Stop Wasting Your Wine, a wine review podcast where we waste our wine so you don't have to. On this episode, we review
a white wine from New Jersey with guest hosts Steve Gambuti from NJ Stomps the Grape.
Hey everyone, welcome back. We're so excited to have you. Today I am joined by three awesome people, besides myself, of course, Aaron here, but I'm with Colin, Joel, and our friend Steve, that we knew for the longest time as NJ Stomps the Grape on Instagram. We've been talking forever, and now Steve is joining us. We're super excited. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much for having me. I love your podcast. It's probably one of the best ones out there. At least it's my favorite. So, you know.
We appreciate that very much.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited to have you for sure. And can I just call out real quick, Aaron, did it take you a second to count up to 3 guests here? I know we're usually at 2, but there was a noticeable pause before you said
I
3.
realized I didn't say my name, and so I had like a little malfunction in my
okay.
brain where I was like,
Panic
I didn't
attack.
say who I am. I'm supposed to do that first. Okay, I'm going to throw
okay.
my own name in. Now that sounds weird. All of that was happening in that pause that you pointed out. Thanks for that, Joel.
I understand. I just didn't want to get too far from it before I went back to it and addressed it.
Yeah,
so thank
never
you.
miss an opportunity to point out when something goes wrong. But no, guys, I mean, I'm excited. It's really cool. I'm kind of tired. If you guys don't know, it's been a busy week around here. Normally,
Why is that, Aaron?
What's going on?
This would normally be a
tell us.
sparkling wine episode, but we were unprepared because my daughter was born a week and a half early. So here we are.
Ooh.
Yeah, Lillian Rose
Hey,
Glelly
congrats.
joined us. Thank you very much.
Awesome.
She made an early entrance. So today's podcast is brought to you by sleep deprivation and coffee. So
God bless.
thank you,
be
thank
like-
you very
Nothing's
much.
too different from the
I
normal
was gonna
mixture
say,
that
that's-
propels us here. So.
Yeah, that's my everyday. I mean,
Yeah. No, if anything, I'm probably going to bed
But-
earlier than I normally do because I have to.
Yeah.
yeah,
You
for
won't be
sure.
trying to keep us up all night. That's great.
Not
Well, brought to you by that concoction, then also the opportunity to get to talk to you, Steve, and hang out with you. So looking forward to it. You know, we've been watching your story and your content grow and your community grow on Instagram, and just super excited to dig into that with you too, and just talk about that and New Jersey wine. Did I hear right that that's what we're drinking today?
Yes,
New
Joel.
Jersey- New
Yes,
Jersey
it
wine.
exists. As I've been telling you for ages, New Jersey has a wine scene, and it is excellent.
And it
That
is
is
up
true.
and coming. Up and coming.
Okay.
We do usually
I'm gonna have
tease Aaron
questions about
for
this.
saying that that New Jersey has this wine scene, but I guess
Yeah,
we're
I
going to
sent
find
you
out more about
articles.
it tonight.
Yeah, I
You did.
proved it.
Definitely.
Do you know New Jersey actually has AVAs?
Yes.
I didn't know that until this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Until
I'm looking at
reading
this
over the
lovely
notes
bottle
for
of
this
wine.
episode.
that has an
Yeah.
AVA on it.
Yeah. So I'm super excited. I'm excited we have Steve here because Steve is like our resident New Jersey wine expert.
I don't know about that. I'm just, New Jersey resident wine enthusiast, I guess. All right. Enthusiast, so.
Absolutely, but I'll take expertise in relation to the folks around you. So compared to us, you're killing
Very
it.
cool.
So Steve, would love to ask you before we get into like the review and the awesome wine that you're sharing with us today. We'd love to just like chat a little bit about, share with the listener who you are and what you do. So to start off, what is New Jersey Stomps the Grape?
Oh, well, New Jersey Stomps the Grape is this idea I came up with. It was actually a while ago. I remember when I first started dating my fiance, we would go out, and I'm not like I did a teacher blog. I'm a teacher, so years ago I did a blog on teaching, and I did all that, and you take a break a little bit, and then afterwards, a few years later, we're at a winery, Four Sisters Winery down in New Jersey, and I'm sitting there, and I go, I would just love to do a wine blog, and she's like, that would be really cool, and I'm like, yeah. I go, and I'm going to call it Stomps the Grape. And she's like, that's cool. I'm like, yeah, all right, because, Italians, hey, we crush the grape with the feet, So we do a thing with the feet. We do the crush, the whole thing. Not really. I mean, but in the old days, it's, in some places
Sure.
still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do it, for sure.
But what's really cool is that I was like, I'm so excited. And I get everything ready and I go. Now, being a teacher in New Jersey, things are a little different. So there's certain rules and things you have to follow and social media norms and things. And I was pretty much told at the time, no, there's alcohol involved and you got to kind of stay away from it. So I kind of sat back and I went, oh, okay, that stinks. But, one day I'm going to retire. And,
Sure.
and then what happened was, 5 years later or 4 years later, we got a new super and guy's really great. I mean, he's awesome. And he's just like, yeah, of course you could do it. Just don't act like an idiot. And and have some respect, because you have people watching you, and you do represent your district, and
Sure.
and I'm not one of those guys that's just like, I love wine. Wine is my favorite. No, it's not going to be that. So so we just kind of sit back, and that's so. For the most part, I started at the time. I said, let me build an Instagram first, and it was just Stomps the Grape, and then and I said to my fiance, I go, listen, I said, there's so much wine out there, and we love New Jersey. We go to farms, we go to wineries in New Jersey, we do the apple picking, we go down the shore, we do everything. We go to the mountains, we hike. I go, let's just do it about New Jersey, so it makes it a little different, right? It's like you're taking a niche and you're niching down on that niche. So we're just, so from that moment a while back, I said, now I just change everything to NJ Stomps the Grape. And it's great. I mean, I've been meeting winemakers from New Jersey. I'm part of a winemaking club. We're using New Jersey grapes. I'm meeting so many people, nice people, great people, making new friends. And it's just that's how it started. Just started doing facts and, little by little, and getting more used to being in front of the camera. And, and I'm kind of like, at first I'm like a little apprehensive, but
Sure.
I'm getting a little better as I go,
Well, now you do longer form like YouTube videos too. So you have like your shorter content on Instagram, but then you do like full New Jersey winery tours on YouTube.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's funny because you guys know I do a podcast with two other guys, right? Wine Mile and Wine Likes app. Jeff and Ben, great guys, called Three Quirky Dudes. That's my shameless cheap plug.
Oh,
but
plug
we
away.
do.
Yeah.
We
Plug
do it.
away at any point that it makes
So,
sense. Go nuts.
It's pretty cool, and that's what we do. But my thing is never to really do a podcast. I kind of just want to do a YouTube channel where we're going around showing the different wineries, interviewing the winemakers, letting the viewers kind of get somewhat of an experience of what a New Jersey winery is all about. Because it's about the experience to me. It encompasses everything.
That's so cool. So it seems like you've been into wine for a while now. Is there a bottle or an experience that you had earlier in your wine drinking career, or maybe not wine drinking career, that got you into wine? Do you remember that one thing where the aha moment?
Let's start, Steve.
I don't know. Let me see. This is a trick question. No, when I was growing up, my Italian grandfather was the guy who had the grape. He crushed the grapes. He had the press in the garage, in the basement kind of thing.
Yeah.
And
very cool.
He had everything set up, and then he would take an old bottle of, the Giulio Gallo gallons, right? And I think he'd say, I'm going to pour this out. I don't want this. I want my wine. So whatever the case, he'd put the wine in there. And as early as I could remember, on Sunday dinners, my grandfather and his guinea tea, his brown pants, his sandals, and his high dark socks, he's sitting there and he's at the table and he's got the wine out and he's got it at his feet. And nobody touches the wine unless they ask. So what happens is he would give you the wine and it was horrible. It was just but I'm saying that as a kid drinking this. So as I get older though,
Sure.
I learned to appreciate it more. And then part of my I'm in an Italian American club in North Jersey, and I met a guy who's a winemaker. He's a judge. He's a fantastic guy, and he kind of got us all back into wine because he wins all kinds of medals for his winemaking, and he come on down and start making wine with us, and so it just became a thing, and it just kind of helped. It just kind of all came together probably about 2 to 3 years ago.
That's amazing.
That's awesome. I love that backstory on it, and I have to go back for a second because I think there's not so much an elephant in the room, but we have to go back and talk about the fact that this is New Jersey wine because I know personally, Aaron definitely has been a champion of New Jersey wine, being a proud New Jerseyan.
New Jerseyite. What do you call yourself?
And he has been saying this for a while. Hey, there's these great vineyards, these great wineries, and it's an up and coming scene. And I won't throw you in with me, Colin, but I've been like, really, can it really be that good?
Very skeptical.
But very skeptical. So. I'm super excited to try this wine today from New Jersey. And can you just tell us a little bit, tell us about that wine scene in New Jersey? Aaron said multiple times it's like one of the fastest growing wine growing regions in the world, I think you've said, Aaron. So, tell us a bit about that.
It's definitely been on. Sorry, it's been on lists of like up and coming. It's been like Greece and like other places, and then like New Jersey.
It's
like
so unexpected. Yeah.
It's like you got like Tuscany,
right? Exactly. You're like looking
Tuscany,
down the list.
Burgundy, Newark.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's definitely up and coming. It's definitely happening. Scene. We have close to, I would almost say, 60 different wineries throughout our state, and they go up and down the state. And the southern part of the state is where everything's most active. And we have 4 AVAs, and those are government issued, and they're American viticultural areas. And they're like just pretty much. Yeah, they're pretty much said these are where you can make wine grapes. These are where grapes grow. You have a certain terroir there. You have different differences, and New Jersey has 4. We have one that's I'm gonna mess this up because I'm doing off the top of my head here, but we have the Warren Hills AVA. We have the Central Delaware Valley AVA, which is kind of connected to Pennsylvania by the Delaware Water Gap, and then you have the biggest AVA that we have is the Outer Coastal Plain AVA, and that's where this wine comes from today. We'll talk about that, and then inside of that AVA, there's a smaller AVA called the Cape May AVA, Cape May Peninsula AVA. So it's like
Is that a geographic thing or is that a quality thing? Because I know we've talked about things like Chianti and Chianti Classico is like is a area within an area.
Yeah, it is all just geography. Okay. It's all about the geographical areas and stuff.
That's how it is everywhere in the United States. We don't have a hierarchy of quality like they do in other places.
We're just working on having a quality to start.
It's a lot of free reign. A lot of free reign for winemakers. They're like, let's try this, let's try that. I mean, like today, you're going to look at this Silica by Cedar Rose Vineyards, right? This is a white blend, and I've never heard of it before. Yeah. And I believe it's just something that they're very proud of. Dustin and Steve are the owners down there, and it is. I don't want to get too far ahead, but it's a blend, and you have the opportunities in New Jersey and other states in our country to be creative because there's not all these like tight little rules that everybody's going to follow in order to get a stamp or a sticker, right? So
that's right.
They have a lot of creative room. In New Jersey is great because nobody expects anything from this state. Yeah. So they can just turn around and boom, they can make things happen.
That's amazing.
Yeah, really quick. There was this blew my mind because when I'm writing my blog, I'm looking for doing research. I'm looking for stuff. And I came up with this idea. Let me compare California wines to New Jersey wines. What the hell was I thinking, right? But it turns out, that's awesome. Turns out you guys heard of the Judgment of Paris.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Yep. There's a Judgment of Princeton. And what this was, and if I get my facts correct, great. And if I don't, great. No, if I don't get them, it is.
We're not going to fact check you.
No, I'm doing my best. But I believe there were 3 New Jersey wines that beat out California wines.
Wow.
So there, or maybe even an Oregon wine. I have to look more. But the Judgment of Princeton was a while ago. I wrote the post, and I'm writing so I'm always like forgetting stuff. But so much going on up here in this old brain.
So cool,
but, yeah. So
that's amazing. I'm going to go down the rabbit hole on that for a little bit. And I think you said the perfect word. It's unexpected. And I think maybe it's just my little peanut lived in the Southeast my whole life brain, but like I've been to Hoboken and Secaucus, New Jersey, and like to me that's New Jersey. And I think
That's exactly it, right? Because for a lot of people who don't live in New Jersey and have been in New Jersey, and they're like, why is this the Garden State? Because they're driving up I-95 and they're just seeing New York, Staten Island, like going by, landing in Newark, which don't go to Newark right now, by the way. That's definitely not like they just see the industrialized part of the state that's on the river. But if you go 20 minutes west, it is mountainous. It is, there are lakes. It's beautiful, and it actually, when you compare it to areas of the world that produce wine, the geography of southern and western New Jersey and the climate are very, very similar. So it actually makes sense.
It's wild.
They do say, I haven't checked into it, but they do say supposedly we're on the same longitude as Bordeaux. So
That, I mean,
Interesting.
Isn't that what we were saying? We were saying that kind of
it
thing
is what
just a
we
few
were
weeks ago.
saying. And honestly, mind blowing when you think about it, and it makes a lot of sense. If there's really some good stuff coming out of this region, I'm not surprised to hear it.
Yeah, no, and if you meet some of our winemakers, what's really cool in New Jersey, and what I love about New Jersey wine more than anything, and I can only say this because I've only experienced a couple of other places around the country, and when I did, and I'm not knocking these other places because I didn't dive in as much, but it wasn't as personal. Okay, so now I go to a guided wine tasting at the Procala Winery with my fiance, and boom, guess what? The owner's the guy giving you the guided tasting. He's telling you about the history of the wine.
Very cool.
I go, oh, I do an Instagram. He goes, that's great. Let's take pictures. You want to see the vineyard? Come on, look at the tank room. Here, try this sample. Then I'm like, but that's not on the guided tasting. He goes, no. Just come here, try. The guy's walking over to the tanks.
So cool.
He's taking out the stuff. He's like, try that, try this. But they're doing that with everybody, not just me, right? So this is the kind of stuff to me that makes New Jersey wine so great. Yeah, it's that
cool
personal connection with the winemakers, and then you got these guys. They're second generation Italians coming in. You have people from France. I mean, the oldest operating winery in New Jersey is Renault Winery, and that was a vintner that came over. I believe it was like in the late 1800s, maybe early, and he started the Renault Winery in New Jersey. So
That's
awesome.
From Champagne. I was actually reading about this one earlier. He was from France, and that actually became, it was late 1800s, and became the center of importing champagne.
New Jersey champagne. Yes.
In the United States. And that town, whatever it is, was like nicknamed Wine City because so much French champagne was imported through that town. So it's wild. We're gonna get into
blowing my mind
New
right
Jersey
now.
history in just
Blowing
a little
my
bit.
My
mind.
head is
Again,
exploding.
Is it?
Honestly,
really cool.
100%.
Really
But there's
cool.
not a lot of sulfites in that. I don't understand.
Yeah. But like the thing, and so Steve, we're so excited to have you on. We got a really great episode ahead of us. We're gonna try this wine that your friends
Should we
over
talk
at
about the
wine? So we have a wine today from Cedar Rose, which Steve's gonna tell us a little bit about. They were nice enough to send to us, and we're gonna try out. We're gonna play one of our favorite games at the end, PiNope or CharonnYay, and Steve and I are gonna kind of go down a rabbit hole of New Jersey history. And I'll say this: one of the reasons we don't know that much about New Jersey wine is because New Jersey shot themselves in the foot for like 80 years with their wine scene, with their own like legislation. I don't know, Steve, you were going to talk about that, but I'll bring that up later. So if you're wondering what that is, you're going to have to listen to the rest of the episode to find out, because it is frustrating, but explains a lot.
I feel like you created that little teaser specifically to tickle that little part of me that gets so jazzed about wine history.
It's a good
and
one.
how things came about. I can't wait.
It's infuriating, but it explains so much about why an area that really should have a great thriving wine scene doesn't yet, or is just building up now.
When I go back and I'm listening to this episode, I'm going to skip from this point right here that I'm talking right now to the part where we talk about that, and then come back and listen to everything that we do in the middle. But just so the listener at home knows how I'm enjoying this episode, that's how I'm doing it.
It's not
Real
going to be able to
quick-
focus for the next 15 minutes.
Is there a quiz at the end? Because last time you did a history lesson, we had a quiz. So
I'm
I just
gonna
need to
tell
know
you
how
there's
much
a
I need to
quiz
tune
just
in.
so you listen to the things I say, Colin. It's infuriating.
That's great.
So that being said, Colin, just to help you have a little bit of a boost ahead of time, Colin, would you like to tell us what we're drinking today?
Sure. This is the Silica from Cedar Rose Vineyards. This is the 2024. Is a really interesting blend of grapes here. One I have never seen. Probably most people wouldn't have thought to put these together. But we're looking at 40% Viognier, 40% Albariño, and 20% Sauvignon Blanc. So I can't wait to get into it because that is an absolutely wild combination. We're obviously
I love a innovative blend, that's for sure.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really cool. I can't wait to get into it. We are in the Outer Coastal Plain AVA. This is a 12.8% alcohol by volume wine, and Cedar Rose Vineyard was nice enough to send this to us. So thank you guys very much. This is awesome, and you can get this one for around $28.
Cool.
And they do deliver.
Nice.
Hey, there you go.
This is good to know. Heck yeah.
You know, the fun thing about Jersey places is like Jersey has a silly law. I'm getting to Jersey silly laws where you can't have wine shipped in from outside the state, but the places that produce wine inside New Jersey are welcome to ship their stuff outside of the state or ship their stuff within the state. So if this is something that sounds tantalizing to you, you're welcome to hop on their website and order from them, and they can ship it to you. And just thinking about kind of the price range that we normally operate in for a nice little bottle of wine, maybe, we'll get into it. Bucks is right up our alley.
Yeah,
Cool.
I don't know what the delivery will be on top of it, but you're getting a handcrafted wine that's 100% made at the winery. They're not a large facility, and it's that personalized touch. It's that you're not getting a mass marketed wine, right? So
Yeah.
No, I think that's another when you talk about things that are cool about the Jersey scene now, and it kind of reminds me of, I got married at a vineyard in Virginia, and the Virginian wineries I visited seem very similar in a sense of it's up and coming, so they grow everything there. They're proud of what they grow, and then they build this kind of scene there. So it's not just like show up, sit at a table, get handed some glasses, and then get sold in a wine club. It's often like picnic tables, bring your family, bring your dog. There's food, there's bands, there's live music. Like it is a scene, and I think I was looking at Cedar Rose's website, and that seems to be their vibe and a lot of the vibes of other Jersey vineyards, and I just love that. Like I love that it's an experience, it's a hangout place, and while you're there, and then looking at actually the breakdown of the varietals in this, the Viognier and the Albariño are both grown at Cedar Rose Vineyards, and then the Sauvignon Blanc is from Cape May, so it's all Jersey. But they're also like coordinating with other vineyards and makers to keep, to just find different varietals. And Steve, I think I when I was watching your video on Cedar Rose, they have like 16 different varietals that they grow there. Which is just like really cool and really ambitious for like a small vineyard. Tell us a little bit about Cedar Rose before we dig into this. I'm excited to taste it, but I also want to know who is sending this our way.
Yeah. So
totally.
really quick, we were at the NJ Wine Expo. And it's a place in New Jersey, like it's a location, like a convention center, and they have like a little wine convention where the New Jersey wineries come and they pour and you taste and you can buy wines, and it's great. This was kind of mind blowing for me a little bit. I go and I have the guy. I'm like, yeah, I want to try that. Can I try that? And we're at Cedar Rose, and I'm like, can I try that? And the guy's looking at me. He goes, "You're Steve from Stomp the Grape." And I'm kind of like,
No.
And I'm looking around like, who the heck, right? And it turns out that his name is Steve. He's the owner of Cedar Rose, one of them, and he's also their owner of a company what was called Vinotech. And what they did is they created technology where they're helping other wineries with harvesting and planting,
cool.
and it's amazing.
That's
the
awesome.
knowledge these guys have. So anyway, then I get a thing. I'm talking back and forth and on Instagram. We're following each other. And one day I get an invitation to come down to the winery because we're like, yeah, we're going to come down. You're going to yeah, come on down. I'll show you everything. And that's when I met Dustin, and he's the other owner. And there's a third owner as well. And his name's escaping me right now. I apologize. But, you had Steven and Dustin that I know. And Dustin took us around the winery, showed us all kinds of wines. We were like, whoa, we were blown away. The wines were great. He took us in a tasting room. Again, he's in the barrel. He's pulling wine out. Here, taste this. Taste this.
Love that.
Right? He's using, yeah. It was so cool. But that's the kind of thing that makes to me, that experience, right? And they're doing live music there, whatever. But he's going through the history, and he's talking about, this was all trees, all trees. And he actually went to go work in blueberries, somewhere on like a blueberry farm, because he went to school for, I don't want to say viniculture, maybe viniculture, but he went to school for growing and harvest, for this kind of stuff. And so, it was really cool. So then he comes back, and him and his buddy Steve, they live like across the street from the vineyard. They grew up there. It was like almost this big piece of land. They took it all down. They repurposed it, and they took the parts that are like some of the trees are like when you're sitting down at the bar, you're sitting down. The trees are part of the bar. There was an old barn, cool. And that's like they used the siding of the barn for the roof up at the ceiling inside their
way cool.
So they repurpose things. They're very big on sustainability, and their wines are fantastic. And their Cab Franc to me is wow, So that's my little Cedar Rose spiel.
No, I mean, that's so awesome. Cool. And so I'm so glad we have the opportunity to kind of try something that is not just from a region that folks don't usually get to try wine from, but also from a place that kind of like, I don't know, lack of a better way, like pulled themselves up, like just kind of did it themselves, built it themselves. And this is like the end product of that. So let's get into it. Let's give it a try.
Tastes like wine.
Colin, I know your microphone's being kind of funny today, so I'm going to call you in first. What are you getting on the nose, man?
Okay. I don't know what that microphone being funny has anything to do with me going first. It doesn't bother me. I just don't see the connection.
Didn't want you to feel.
But that's all right. Well, we'll move on.
That was me being kind. I apologize. It won't happen again.
Okay. It's just
your kindness has greatly offended Colin. Please don't do that again.
Go on.
No, it's so the one thing about this wine is it is crazy expressive. Like you don't need to put your nose anywhere close to that glass to get just a face full of flavor. And there's so much going on. I'm actually like almost having a problem parsing everything that's happening because there's so much happening. But I will say you get a little floral note, I think, is one thing that really sticks out. And then peach is really the big one, I think. And you get that from the Viognier. That's Viognier's thing.
Peach and the Sauvignon Blanc, right? Like the Sauvignon Blanc has, to me, when I put my nose in there, like the first thing that pops out to me is like I go, oh, it tastes like or smells like a Sauvignon Blanc, but then I'm like, oh wait, but then there's also 4 other things going on here.
Yeah, I think there's some greenness in there from the Sauvignon Blanc. It's almost like we've talked about it before, but a little bit of the like the jalapeno you can get in some Sauvignon Blancs, and I feel like I wouldn't call it quite jalapeno-y, but it is in that green family. I don't know exactly maybe what it is, but definitely something a little green in there.
Totally. What about you, Steve?
I'm getting it's pretty much what it kind of says. I'm getting and my nose is not as good as you guys, but I'm getting I get a good, nice tropical mixture of stuff, different citrus things. I'm definitely getting lemon, getting a little bit of lime, and sometimes I don't know. I could be wrong about this. I'm getting almost like a green appley, honeyish, right?
No, I think that's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm definitely getting peach as well. And like you said, I love the aroma of this. This is like screams summertime, Yeah.
And I think something about like, you take a smell of like Sauvignon Blanc and it has that smell, right? And this is in there, but I think the complexity of the other aromas kind of add a whole new level to it, right? So it doesn't just hit you like an $11 bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. You're like, oh, that's kind of in there. But then there's these other layered aromas that are making it far more complex that make it just a lot more interesting to me.
It's just there's so much going on. It's wild to really try to sift through.
Can I call out a few things here?
Please.
See if you guys think I'm crazy. Because when you were saying jalapeno, Colin, I was thinking like a little bit of like a green pepper popped in my head, but there was something else in there. I want to throw this at you guys. Cucumber. Little cucumber.
How do
you feel about
that? I don't hate that.
Right?
I mean, it's kind of that same green family.
I'll
take that.
Get it, but my nose sucks. So
I don't eat cucumbers.
I don't know if I don't get. I don't know if I get cucumber. I think it's more green pepper.
Green
pepper. Hey, but that's okay. There's no wrong answers.
Maybe bell pepper. Not
pin on that one. That's what I'm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
No, there are
sticking
no
with
wrong
it,
answers.
baby.
Maybe you are getting cucumber. Yeah,
But hey,
go for it.
So we've just named everything that has a smell. Let's move into the taste and see what we're getting and see if there's as many flavors in this as there are scents. Colin, I'm going to jump back to you. What again?
Holy acid, Batman. There is quite a bit of acid in this wine. I would imagine that comes from the Sauvignon Blanc and the Albariño. Ooh. But also from the Viognier, a little bit of body for as much acid as there is,
Yeah.
which is a really nice contrast because usually you don't always get that with Sauvignon Blanc and Albariño, but you do usually get, that the lift from Viognier. So they play really nicely together in this wine.
I think so. It's one of the things that they purposely set out to do. It's a lively. It's like he in his description, Dustin's description of it was that it's live. It's got a lively acidity, and it's crisp.
I would agree with that.
Super crisp.
Lively is, I think, the appropriate word there for sure. As far as flavors, I think the Sauvignon Blanc comes through a lot more on the palate than on the nose. I think the Viognier kind of ruled the nose with the peach, a little bit of that floral note, but the Sauvignon Blanc really comes through on the palate. And then there's, I might need another minute, so if somebody else got something.
Totally. I agree with you when you said jalapenos. Like, you definitely get a little bit of that like spiciness to there and that crispiness. And I forget which wine it was that we were like, I want to make a margarita with this. If it was like it was a Sauvignon Blanc or maybe the Vinho Verde. But I'm kind of getting that. Yeah, I'm kind of getting that kind of aspect. It's like really, really crisp. Really acidic. You get a lot of those like citrusy flavors. And like you said, I'm really digging like the structure and how it's all working together. The fact that it is a little bit heavier, has a little weightiness to the body, is just making it, to me, a very drinkable glass of wine because of just, I think if this was way thinner, it would just be like, holy crap with the acidity, but that weight is like reeling it in a little bit.
It gives it a little bit of a little balance to me. It gives it some, you got some weight on your tongue. When that acidity, you just, it's nice. It's just got a nice little, and it's got a nice little finish to it. I mean, again, I'm not a wine expert. I'm probably the furthest one from it here in this group.
LOL, no, that's me.
But
don't take that from me, Steve.
It's mine. I claim it. I am the new non-expert in the room.
I come up the rear of this race, cleaning up behind everyone. It's fine. What about you, Joe? Where are you at?
Yeah, I think the only other thing, you guys said it, the only other thing that sticks out to me is how much, definitely, the citrus was prevalent on the smell, but then on the sip, I think it takes even more center stage, which makes it even more impressive. We're talking about the acidity being pretty high, and then also the citrusiness kind of poking through. It makes it more impressive that at the same time, it's a very balanced sip, because those two things would definitely, I think, kind of make you think, oh, this is leaning to like a very almost harsh experience, but it's really not, because I guess if you're saying it's the Viognier that's balancing it, then kudos to you, Viognier, because it really is. It does make it a nice, more balanced, well-rounded sip.
For sure. 100%. And then the only other thing I'm kind of picking up, there's a slight saltiness, salinity to it, and I don't know if that it's probably the Albariño mixed with the vicinity to the ocean, which is really nice. There's so much going on in here, and then we called it out, but the peach kind of takes a back seat on the palate, as opposed to it was the foremost for me, at least on the nose, but it's still in there, and I think there's also that nice floral note in the background. It's not very intense, but you do get a nice hit of that in there as well.
When we first opened it, I'm glad you brought up two things. One, the floralness, because when we first opened this up, man, that was like very prevalent to me, especially on the tail end of the sip, and it lingered quite a bit. It wasn't a bad thing, but it stuck out a little bit, and been open a little bit. It's warmed up, I think, is the big thing too. That was kind of when I had just taken it out of the fridge, and definitely, found its place in there. And the only other thing too is I'm glad you said a little saltiness, because my mind is blown. I didn't know Cape May was in New Jersey.
Okay.
And those are some of my favorite oysters. And so my brain kind of went to that too. And I was like, I wonder if my brain is just making a connection and wanting this to be a little salty, briny. But I'm glad you said that, because I was getting
Use
a little
briny.
bit
You said briny.
Oysters
briny.
like their silica too.
They do.
There we go.
Oh God, this wine with oysters would be Phenomenal.
That's what I'm
Hey,
saying.
bomb.
Yeah.
Another reason to come up
Oh,
to
yes.
Jersey.
You could pair this with all
100%.
kinds of great shellfish and clams, and it's perfect.
This is a great first crack at it. Before we give it like our final stamp, we're gonna take a step away for a minute, and we're gonna dive into this elusive history of New Jersey wine and figure out how we got to where we got today. So, Steve, do you want to kick us off?
The only thing you will learn today.
This is the only thing you will learn.
So, here's the history of New Jersey wine, folks. Grape growing and wine production in the state of New Jersey predates the founding of America. That's right,
Boom.
predates the founding of America.
Boom.
That's wild.
And
Blowing my mind.
from the mid 1700s to today, there have been numerous waves of grape growers and winemakers throughout the state. Most recent wave is speculated to have started in the mid 1900s and picking up substantially after the turn of the century. I mean, there's wineries going bonkers. Things are popping up all the time. It's getting big, folks, and you need to come here and check it out. All right, so back to history. All right, so the industry has reached a size and stature that make it a major force in growing agricultural and tourism sectors of the state. In the last decade or so, the number of wineries has more than doubled from 22 in 2004 to over 50 in 2014. Now, 11 years later, and there's still even more growing and popping
Nice.
up. The acreage of wine grape production has increased from about 500 in 2002 to over 2,000 acres in 2014. Vineyards and wineries are continuing to emerge each year, and many believe this trend will prevail in upcoming years. I certainly do. You can just see it growing everywhere you go. Boom, boom, boom. I mean, last November, the New Jersey Wine Growers Association started I believe it was their first NJ Expo in November, NJ Wine Expo, where they got together with these different vineyards and wineries. I'm gonna kidnap Aaron, take him down there with us. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it.
No, don't do it.
No, it's gonna be great.
Uh,
All right. So, although New Jersey's very small geographically, 3 regions of the state have been designated as distinct American viticultural areas, AVAs. The largest and the youngest is the Outer Coastal Plains, AVA, and that was established in 2007. And inside that, I had mentioned there is a sub one, the Cape May Peninsula, AVA. It includes most southern half of the state. So let's see. Also, the Central Delaware Valley AVA and the Warren Hills AVA are considerably smaller. The modern era began after 1981 with the passage of the New Jersey Farm Winery Act.
Okay.
now, Steve, can I interject why that was so important?
Yes, for sure.
So this is the great, and this is why I was like, New Jersey repeatedly either kind of got screwed somewhere else or shot itself in the foot. So you had Prohibition, of course, shut everyone down. Right before Prohibition, you had that massive, Colin, I always mess up the pronunciation, phylloxera outburst across the entire globe, killing, vines everywhere. And then on top of that, New Jersey passed a law that restricted winery licenses to 1 per every 1 million people. So you have to imagine the population of New Jersey is not that high now. And so imagine the population of New Jersey in like 1940. So from the end of Prohibition until 1981, there could only be 1 winery per 1 million people. So they just completely shut down, the wine industry in New Jersey, which was then overturned by the law that Steve just mentioned, which then changed it to 1 per 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Allowing for significantly greater investment in winery in New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
So yeah, that's pretty much a New Jersey wrap. But we have, like I said, there was a new law recently passed. I'm trying to remember when it was, but I just did a New Jersey. I do a New Jersey Tuesday, New Jersey wine trivias right on Tuesday. So I had this question up and I completely forgot it because I'm shot in the head over here. But I had this one wine fact. It was pretty cool. But New Jersey just pretty recently opened up to where wineries can mail out and send wine out to people. So to directly to the consumer, and that changed a lot.
All right. So super interesting. Thank you so much, Steve. Everyone listening to this episode now knows more about New Jersey wine than they probably know about any wine region from beginning to end. And so that's exciting. And we now have one of New Jersey's very own vineyards that we have been, sipping and smelling. And so now, guys, anything else, anything new coming on those for you guys? Anything new since it's cooled down or anything? I don't think so. It's a very complex white for sure, but I don't think it's exactly, opening up with age like we would with some of our reds.
I think anything changing is more temperature related at this point.
Yeah. It's young too, so I don't know how much more it's going to change.
For sure.
Totally.
Yeah.
Again, also like a 2024 wine that's this complex. Very cool.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so Steve, as tradition on our show, since you brought this to us, you will go last. The very quick review, if you're brand new to the show, if you're listening for the first time, we don't use numbers on the show. That's for mathematicians and nerdy people. We go with our vibes. So in this show, very simple. If the wine sucks, it's a drain wine. We don't recommend you drink it. If it's a wine that's okay, but wouldn't recommend that you buy or share it or really tell anyone you drink it, but you need in case of emergency, it is a backup wine. If it is a wine that you want to have around the house, like maybe it's not something that you're going to bring to dinner, show off, but you like it, it's fine, it's tasty, it's affordable.
It's wine.
It's wine. It's your casual drinker. There's a bunch of casual drinkers that I just love, and I'll grab and I'll drink while, I'm just walking around the house. It's not something I'm going to bring to dinner, but hey. And then the next, like the top tier levels are must-share wines. Those are the wines that we say, like, you want to grab, you want to talk to people about it, you want to bring it to dinner. It's a conversation starter. It tastes good. And often for us, it's something that's also a great bang for your buck. And then, of course, the very top tier for us is we each have our own wine fridge with 3 spots. That's say for our personal favorites that we've had. All of our wine fridges are full. Steve, this is your inaugural episode, so your wine fridge is empty. So, the world is your oyster.
Free.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we all have 3 spots in our wine fridge. So that being said, Steve, it's tradition that you will go last because you brought it to us. Colin, Joel, would either of you like to go first?
Yeah, but did they like it? It's time for the review.
I'll go first.
Go for it, Colin.
Sure. Yeah, I think this is a must share. I mean, talk about a conversation starter. You could literally just talk for hours about trying to find the flavor notes in there, which I'm sure would actually, now thinking about it, bore most people to death, but I would enjoy that conversation. So if that sounds like something you would like to do, let me know. But yeah, it's just, there's so much complexity here. I think again, I'm a big structure guy. I really appreciate, even more so than the flavor sometimes, when the structure can really take you on the ride. This bright acidity with the weight that the Viognier gives you is a really interesting balance. And it's just super complex, and it's just damn tasty too. It just tastes good. You just want to keep drinking it. So an absolute must share. It's awesome wine, but the uniqueness is definitely something to talk about as well.
Fantastic. Joel?
Oh, God, I'm so torn because I love giving you a hard time, Aaron, about how much you talk about New Jersey wine and how it's this growing region and all this stuff. But I'm honestly blown away by how much I'm enjoying this wine from New Jersey. It's fantastic. It's, I wasn't expecting it to be, I think, quite as elegant and well put together. And like you were talking about, Steve, you were talking a lot about just the love that the people have making this wine. And I think that really shines through. It's not just, people trying to be out there and whatever, make wine in a place that doesn't have it. It's people who truly have sought out an area that's good for growing grapes and making good wine and have put a lot of passion and love and attention into making a good product. That I think that comes through. So I'm converted, enjoying this very much.
I like
yeah,
it.
100%, and absolute must share. And not just because of how much I want to share and show people like, hey, this is what New Jersey can produce, but just because it's a quality wine. If this was from California, I would be saying the same thing. I mean, it's just it's really enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Absolute must share for a lot of reasons that you said, but also the fact that, one, I love that it's local grown. I love that it's all from their vineyard or surrounding area. I love the combination of varietals that we don't normally see together. I don't think we haven't done a Viognier on the show, I don't think, but we've done an Albariño that we really liked.
Only in we've had blends.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, we've had Viognier
Yeah.
as a minor part, but we haven't done like a Viognier. You're right. But we've done Albariños that we like. Obviously, we've done Sauvignies, and I just love this combination. I want to be sitting on my porch and drinking this right now. Like I would call this a porch pounder. I know Joel is the keeper of the final stamp, but I think between that acidity and the body, especially when I took this right out of the fridge when it was real chilled, and y'all, this thing is disappearing quickly. It is.
No.
It is tasty. It is going down. And I'll say, and also, it is a complex white at $28. And I think one of the coolest things about the wine scene in Jersey is similar to the wine scene I experienced in Virginia, is you go and you hang out and you drink a few glasses and you hang out with your friends and you find one that you like, and then you get to walk in and talk to the owner or the grower or whoever and buy the bottle right there and take that home. So I'll definitely be making a trip down to Cedar Rose and walking out with a few bottles.
You
at
will.
this quality. So yeah, an absolute must share. Steve, bring us home, man.
I'm definitely going to say a must share. If I had a refrigerator and I needed a first wine to put in, I'd probably put this in there. Though I'm not going to lie, I have had their Cab Franc and their Treminette, and they'd go in there too. But there's a lot of other wineries.
See, there
that
you go. So you're already thinking logistically. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Very
I mean,
smart.
it's definitely a
He
must
gets it.
share. That's why I wanted to share it with you guys. I know that when you guys were saying, yeah, you want to do a wine from Jersey, it's like, I know who I'm going to call. I'm going to call Dustin. And
That's awesome.
he was like, yeah, you kidding me? This is something I'm really proud of. And I was like, great. So I'm glad it worked out. I would definitely say it's a must share. I will definitely, next time I go down to Cedar Rose, probably in a couple of weeks or a month or whatever, I'm going to definitely grab a whole bunch of these.
For sure.
For summer. I mean, it just screams, I want to be outside. I might, just sit down on my deck, and just relax and having a nice, nice glass of this on a nice hot day. It's perfect.
Absolutely. And I do want to say big thanks to Dustin and the folks at Cedar Rose. This is kind of a cool swing, right? Like, if you know that your wine is going to go on a podcast and it's going to be represented, like, you would think like a lot of vineyards would send like a Cab Franc or something that's just like, a big red that's going to like win over wine drinkers. And I think this was such a cool choice to go with an Albariño Viognier Sauvignon Blanc blend and be like, I want this to represent my vineyard. So I really appreciate that confidence. And this really cool bottle that they put in front of us.
They love their wine. Winemakers in New Jersey, including Cedar Rose, they love what they do. There's a passion. They're not making, believe it or not, they're not making the kind of money people would think, right? They're making enough money to keep their wineries going. And they do it because they love it. It's a passion. It's inside of them. And you can taste that in a bottle a little bit. You can tell. Here's a guy who's going to, we experimented with this. We really, really like this. Here, put this on the podcast. That's pretty good, So
100%.
Awesome.
He's got a lot of balls, that guy, to try that, right?
It does.
Yeah, he does.
Wow. I mean, and
Steve, say that as a teacher.
I can't. That's okay.
It's a Jersey teacher, so you can say that.
I can't say. Anyway.
Edited for content.
Yeah.
All right, so Joe, what do you think? Is this a? I don't know how you became the keeper of this, but you are. So
I believe I coined the certified porch pounder name.
You did.
So it is very close to my heart. Here's the thing, though, guys. We have avoided calling some wines that were really refreshing and really enjoyable, and wines that maybe you would want to drink outside with some oysters, something like that, because they're a little too complex or a little too, maybe I'll just say a little too good, right? Like we definitely called the Vino Verde a porch pounder because it was something that you could literally sit on the porch and pound. Is
for $7.
Yeah, you're not thinking about it too much. This one I think goes over that line. I think it's a little too elegant, a little too complex. So I have a question for you guys. I don't think this is a certified porch pounder. Do we designate our first slightly elevated porch pleaser on the show? This is something we're not.
Not another one.
No. Hold on. Sorry. Patio pleaser on the show. So this isn't something you're sitting on the porch, you're whatever, getting wild out there. It's a slightly more refined evening. You're on the patio, right? Maybe you're taking in an alfresco dinner and you want a outside friendly, lovely wine to enjoy in that kind of a setting. What do you guys think?
Yes.
Sure.
If
100%.
Look, I'm gonna drink this on. I'm gonna drink this on my porch. If I had to call it a patio to be nicer to it, like sure, like it's
like a nice patio pleaser.
Yeah,
Certified patio pleaser. It's a level up from porch pounder.
Yeah,
yes, I'll have that.
Said in that voice,
See,
it makes so much more sense. Yes,
I love it.
I'm in.
I love
I'm
it.
in 100%.
And Steve, just so you know, since you're on the show, Colin is now going to rip the audio of you doing that accent, and that'll be the drop that he drops on anytime we nail this now. So you are now immortalized in the show. Congratulations.
You can do whatever you want to do. That's all.
All right, so we have our first patio pleaser. We have an elevated porch pounder. It's delicious. And if you're in the Jersey area, we highly, highly recommend giving Cedar Rose a visit, checking out. Definitely. It just sounds like a really cool place. I'm excited. Before we let you all go, Steve, if you don't mind, we want to play a game. I know you've been a long-time listener. How do you feel about playing some PiNope and CharonnYay?
Well, since it's like my favorite game, I'm all about it. Let's go.
All right.
As long as I don't gotta spell nothing, that's fine.
Nope, not on this one.
No spell Molly today, sadly. Steve, did you have one?
I did. I wrote it down, and So check this out.
Yes.
So I'm part of a winemaking group. We call ourselves the Carriage House Winemakers, right? This guy Sandy is the leader of us, Rutgers certified, trained, and he makes a lot of wine. And there's a lot of people that know I make a wine. So they go, I sound like Italian there. There's a lot of people that know I make a wine. So Sandy, and them, they're always like, try this wine. So what do you do if somebody shows up at your door? They're like, I made this bottle of homemade wine. It's the best. I love it. It's my favorite. Try it. Tell me what you think. But it sucks.
Oh, so PiNope CharonnYay, telling them the truth.
Yeah, you're gonna PiNope. Are you gonna tell them the truth? Are you gonna tell them? Are you gonna lie to them and be like, no? What are you gonna do?
Steve coming in with the heavy hitter. Oh,
that's a really good one.
Oh boy.
Screw them bastards. Your wine sucked. No.
Yeah. So I would say I would be. Depends upon if I knew him, right? If I knew who it is,
strangers coming to your door handing you wine.
If it's
they have a here, Colin, I'll make it easy. They have a concealed carry permit. No, I'm joking.
Jersey.
Well, in that case, the wine's great.
You know him from this winemaking consortium, right? Like it's someone who
he's a colleague.
Okay. In that case, yeah, tell them their wine sucks if it sucked. I would think somebody would want some positive feedback or any feedback, even though it's not positive. I would just try to make it a learning experience. Maybe we can go over what maybe went wrong during the winemaking process. But yeah, I think you want to be
CharonnYay to breaking people's souls, Colin.
Welcome to the pod.
Yeah.
No, Colin, I'm giving you a hard time about it. I actually. Oh God, it's hard for me, but I it's like a CharonnYay. It's like I would outline the things about it that I think have potential, or but I would also I wouldn't.
It's in a glass.
I wouldn't want to be like, yeah, I would. I wouldn't serve this in a straw. The way you gave it to me, perfect. I think I would try to like lead into like just like I think you're the alcohol, because that's a lot of times with the homemade wine, like right off the bat, right? You're just like, this is like 20% alcohol. You're like, I think you got to tone back the alcohol a little bit. Yeah, give them constructive feedback, but also not being like, this sucks. I'd finish my glass unless it's like rubbing alcohol. So CharonnYay to feedback. Joel?
I would 100% be very, very kind. And I think I would have a tough time being critical at all. The only designation would be if it's like somebody who's trying to actually become a winemaker. I will find like, I would be complimentary, and then I'd be like, oh, there's a lot of apricot, or like whatever, like the one big note that I could tell them to work on. If it's somebody who's just doing it for fun, I would just be like, this is fantastic. You did a great job. Keep doing it, buddy. This is great.
Buddy.
Like I wouldn't even go into anything. I'd just be like, this is lovely. And you are
talented. Like cartoon, like pour it into the plant next to you, and the plant shrivels and dies.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh God.
Steve, where are you on this one? Are you ripping off the Band-Aid?
It really depends on who it is. You always got to know the source you're talking to, right? There's people that will have an emotional breakdown and freaking, God knows what you're going to send them into tailspin. So it depends on who it is. It depends on who it is. If they're going to emotionally break down on you, I mean, I've said to people before, look, you're my friend. I love you. I'm going to tell you the truth. Next thing they're like, you scumbag, you pig.
No,
So I'm like, all right, yeah, okay. You might be like tasting the wine, be like, yeah, you got any other hobbies? Anything else you like to do? No, I don't know. But I'll be like, so that's nice. Did you ever think about making beer? Try that. It's great. But
everybody's making sourdough right now. Maybe give that a go. Yeah.
It's great because you got now in New Jersey, we have these, I don't know about you guys down in Florida, but we have these companies that make wine. Like people think they're winemakers. They're like, come make wine. And people are like, I crush grapes. It took me 3 minutes. I'm like, great job. But they bring the wine to you. The company takes care of everything. And the wine's okay. It's not great, but it's not bad either. But yeah, I mean, back to what I was getting on. Yeah, I don't know. It depends on the person. It depends on the person. If it was like my best friend, I'd be like, dude, your wine sucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it was like somebody I didn't know and they're at my Italian American club, like, yo, what do you think of my wine? I'd be like, it's freaking great, man. You're the best. So, it just depends on who it is. So.
Chardonnay with an asterisk.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Steve, that was such a good one. Thank you so much. Guys, this brings us to the end of this episode. Our first New Jersey wine episode, and off the bat,
fantastic.
I'm shocked.
A must share. Steve, thank you so much for bringing this wine to us.
Thank you, Cedar Rose.
Yeah, a huge thank you to the folks at Cedar Rose for sharing. This was, once again, this is the Cedar Rose Silica. Runs you about $28. You can order it off their website. Just a really great bottle of wine. Steve, if folks want to check out your stuff, where can they find you?
Okay, well, I am at Instagram. I am at YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok at NJ Stomps the Grape. And I also have a blog, njstompsthegrape.com, which goes into more in depth about New Jersey wineries, AVAs, and shows the different tours of the different places. And can I throw a quick shameless plug for my friends and I?
Plug away.
Course. Yeah,
No,
please.
This is the in our structure of the episode. This is the shameless plug section. So knock yourself out. Yeah.
So just so everybody knows, these guys here that we're listening to right now, Stop Wasting Your Wine, are truly inspirational, and they're great. And I thank you guys for this opportunity.
Thank you.
And from there, we started we have our own little podcast, just three of us, me, Ben from Wine Mile, and Jeff from Wine Likes app, and we do a thing every 2 weeks. We release it. It's called Three Corky Dudes, and we pretty much talk about a varietal, the same varietal, and how it tastes on different parts of the country. And, we have some fun. But again, you guys are inspirational. I thank you. And, if you guys want, you can come check us out, Three Corky Dudes, on YouTube and on Instagram. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for this opportunity, too.
Of course. And we'd love to have you back.
We've been watching by the way. Yeah, so much fun over there at Three Corky Dudes. We've been enjoying it. So yeah, glad to see you guys doing your thing over there too. It's been awesome.
Yeah,
And I'll put all this in the show notes too. So if anybody wants to check them out, check out the show notes. It'll all be there.
Sure. And we're going to be checking out more Jersey wines over the years. And anytime we have a Jersey wine on the show, Steve, you are welcome back to guide us through.
Thank you
the
very
Jersey
much.
AVAs. Colin, before we let the folks go, where can they interact with our show moving forward?
Yeah, sure. You can find us basically all the same places you can find Steve. I mean, we're on Instagram,
neighbors right
we're
next
on
door.
YouTube.
That's right.
You can check us out, stopwastingyourwine.com. And if you want to send us an email, stopwastingyourwine@gmail.com. And, that's it. Come check us out.
Thank you, folks, so much for listening. We will see you next week. Joel, until then. When you're not doing it, I don't know how to set it up.
It's always weird when he sets them up.
know. Yeah, your setups are always so hilarious. And remember, stop wasting your wine.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
Go ahead, Steve. You want to do it. Go ahead.
Steve, do it.
Do it,
Bye.
Steve.
Yeah.